So today I thought I would do something a little bit differently. I haven't done a vlog in a while, and I thought, why not? Got a day off, might as well. So today I'm going to be putting together a board for the sake of jamming, just for like jam sessions that I like to go to. For a long time I was going around with like this big old huge board, and the first time I tried to take it to like a proper jam, it was just cumbersome, getting in the way, especially when you know, like the house guitarists have their boards there already. But there is something to be said, I think, for when you're at a jam, for being able to rely on your own sound and knowing how everything works. I'm a really big fan of just being able to, like, if something's needing adjustment, I know what to adjust how and where. And I don't like fiddling with other people's equipment. I think that's not cool. Especially, you know, like my friends who do play in house bands and jams, I know that they get annoyed when people get up there and, you know, they're messing with their dials and whatnot on their pedal boards, as well intentioned as it might be. But yeah, so my solution was to make a small compact pedal board that has everything I need on it, and yeah, just gets through a jam and has some versatility. Is usable in like most situations, most musical situations one might find themselves in. So yeah, I thought I would share me building a board such as that.
Okay, so this is the pedal board I'm going to be using. It is the Metro 16 by Pedaltrain, who make amazing pedals. They actually make my larger board, which I'm foregoing for a little while until I actually find it necessary to have a board that big again. But yeah, I think I have the Classic 2, which is just enormous. I feel like it would take up like half this table on its own, which is definitely overly excessive for what my needs are at the moment, especially, you know, considering most of what I'm doing is just small sessions, recording and jamming work. So it doesn't make sense. I thought one cool thing I would share is this is how we're supplying power. It's the JP05 by Joyo. It's a really great power supply that has a battery in it, so you can totally go wireless. It's one less thing for a sound engineer to worry about when you turn up. You just kind of put it down, don't have to search for wherever the power is. You just turn up, turn it on. And it's got 7 normal 9-volt outputs and then a convertible output here at the end that does 9, 12 or 18 volts depending on what you need, which will be important for one of the pedals that will make it onto the board. But yeah, that's the basis for what we're doing right here. So this is my plethora, I suppose you could say, of selection of choice. Not potentially as big as other friends or other players' collections, but you know, it's what I've accumulated over the years of playing, and it's served me well for the most part. I've tried to group things roughly in order of how I place things, generally speaking. So they are kind of all in a vague sense of direction, and it's going to be mostly about selection. So of course, I think the obvious first choice is the lock-in. I got this secondhand. It's not the best one in the world because you can hear it a little bit. There's like a little fuzz, so it's been used. There's like a little bit of crackling when I turn it on and use it, but that's okay. You can't hear that, you know, like against bass noise of a gig, no one hears that, so it's fine. I do prefer the true silence of the chromatic tuner, but unfortunately there's like that boss is just so big that this is going to be what we take for that. I've been going back to my more Hendrixy roots recently and been doing some more of that stuff, so I think I'm going to try and include the Retrovibe if I can. The Cali76 is something that has recently worked its way into my playing. It is just a wonderful compressor. I used to be very against compressor pedals for a very long time, and I really preferred just natural compression when I could get it, and I tried one of these one time and I was like, oh, it just makes playing a little bit more, it makes things a little easier. It's just a little bit, you know, it's a bit generous, that's what it is. I think it's a generosity thing in your playing. So that's going to make it on, and this is what the 18 volts is going to be needed for. This is the kind of thing that I will just have this on all the time, like this never gets turned off. Into the drives, I suppose, for the most part. This one's a little interesting. I'm sure everybody recognises what that is, but we'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to just grab this as well. So obviously these are all different styles of drive. I'm going to switch these two just because of how I like to think of them. My normal setup would have included about, I think, 4 of these. Like, this was my first drive pedal ever. I got this when I was about, I want to say like 16 or something, for a lot less than they go for now. So yeah, if you know, you know. This I got fairly recently because I wanted to try something different. When I got this, this is my first sort of like Klone style pedal. This is basically just a Marshall in a box kind of thing. It's very much plexi style drive, high gain. This, the first time I tried a Klone, which was this, I broke a string in the guitar store and considered that divine intervention or what have you, and so was very much along the path of like, well, yeah, this needs to be the solo button. This is the newest edition. It's quite big. It's very chunky. It's the Cream Tone, and the way it's from New Zealand, and the way it's designed is that it's always on. So this is a bypass rather than an on and off switch. It's volume, tone, and drive. It's quite mid gainy. It can get pretty bloody crunchy. And then this solo button and the knob that goes with it are just volume. This is just additional volume and a tiny bit of a mid hump as well. But it's mostly just from what I've seen of it so far, it makes a great crunchy rhythm sound. Pop this in and you've got, a decent lead tone, and then stacked with something else in here, it sounds just wonderful. Speaking of sort of like boosting, we've also got the Keeley Katana, which I'm sure a lot of people recognise. This is the old model, I'm sure they still do this, but it's got the little pulley outy knob. It's great. It's the best clean boost I've ever seen, ever. Big Muff Fuzz. I don't really use this all that much anymore. I think it's just because my tastes have moved on. It'll probably come back to the big board when it's time to return to that sort of thing, but I don't really have much use for it at the moment. This is the Black Fountain delay pedal, which I've loved ever since I got it. It's incredible. It purposefully deteriorates the sound of your delays, which I find really cool because it gives them like this really dark quality, but it also has this organ mode in the middle, which is somewhere between like a slapback and a reverb. It makes you sound like you're in a very strange big room. I always like to think of it as kind of like a small room that has a high ceiling is what it feels like, to me at least. And it gives, especially when you're like playing blues, it really gives that kind of weird shaped room feel that I think sounds really great, especially with like a hollow body style guitar. And finally, we've got a wah pedal. There's a Crybaby wah. Nothing particularly incredible to say about that, other than it is wonderful. It has like a little drive option in there as well if you want to use that, but personally I don't. I prefer the wah to just come in a bit more subtly than that, rather than boosting anything. But it's really, really great, and it replaced my old wah, which was a Vox, and sorely needed replacing. This is much easier to use. It's unlikely. I don't think this is going to make it onto the board. It's not going to make it onto the board, but it might feature every night. It's one of those things that you can throw into the front of the case and just bring with you when you want. So yeah. So that's the selection that we're working with. Definitely these three. I want to take this purely for the fact that it's new and needs road testing, It needs some time to be fitted in for us to really work out what it does, what it is, and I'm very excited to use it. So that's definitely, it's a bit of a chonker, which is going to be interesting. But road testing is important, and so we're just going to have to work out how it fits in. And then it will be working out. I'm going to say now, this is not going to be on the board, and people will probably hate me for saying that this won't make it in. They'll be like, why are you choosing something over this? I'll tell you for why. It's because I recently had a very brief experience at a jam when someone identified it from pretty much off stage, and they worked out what it was. And they asked me a few questions about it, and we had like a little gear natter, and it was very fun. However, that brought to mind the idea of like, this is probably I'd say this is potentially my favourite pedal. One of the ones I'm most sentimental about because I've had it it's one of the ones I've had the longest, but it's also, I know that these are hard to find. There's a lot of hype about them for all the obvious reasons. I don't need to go into that. If you're watching this video, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, they're just hard to find. I got mine for a real steal back in the day when I was still a kid, and it's great. I love it to bits, but I would hate if it were to go missing. You know, if someone to recognize what it was and just, you know, slip it into their pocket, I would hate that. So for the purpose of jamming, you know, it would make returns if it was just like a studio session, but, you know, if you're going to jams and stuff, you don't really want something that someone less scrupulous in the community might want, for, you know, for want of a better word. You know, it's wonderful and I love it, but for now it's getting benched for now. But as soon as we get back to the big board, or as soon as we're going to like recording sessions again and that kind of thing, it'll go called up from the bench. But for now, it's just getting benched for now. So definitely this, probably this, as it's my favourite solo button. And then we'll see. I don't know if I really need this much gain anymore, so it might be the Super Overdrive. Recently in blues jams per se, I haven't really found much use for just a straight up clean boost, so I think this might serve that purpose. And what I might do is throw in the SD1 here for the sake of mid boosting on purpose. So you know, this will cover sort of rhythm and be a little solo boost every now and again. This will be sort of slight crunch, but really to gain clarity more than anything, and just give a bit of mid hump when I feel like I need to stand out in the mix more than anything. And then this will be the solo button. I used to drive that, you know what, I used to use this in a way that most people don't use their clones, and I would have my gain at about here and my volume at about here, and really just use this as like absolute power town driving solo kind of like thing. But mixing it with the cream tone the other day, I did start finding the joys in really starting to push the output more than the gain. So we're going to try that combination for a little while. So yeah, that's what we're basically working with here today. So I'm going to start fixing it all up, and yeah, this is vaguely speaking the order. So it's probably going to be the tuner, then the Univibe, compressor, into drive section, and the solo boosting there at the end, and then probably the delay will probably be the last thing I think will make it onto the board. So it's going to be a bit of a tight squeeze. I reckon we can do it. So here we go. This is the completed board. As I said, it's designed for versatility more than anything, and to give the cream tone here a real first blast, a real first try. So yeah, we've gone for the small tuner, obviously. Super Overdrive is just a fun alternative for a mid boosty style pedal. The cream tone for crunch and for a bit of solo. The Archer for like those real kind of like soaring leads. To really push us into, you know, big time for like real volume boosting. The Retrovibe by Jam Pedals here for obviously those more Hendrixy moments to get us all a little bit wobbly as we like it. The Black Fountain for a mixture of, you know, like small and long delay, longish delay I suppose. And then the Cali76 just to smooth things out and give us a little boost as well, a little bit more presence as well every now and again. What's the that is the board of dreams, destiny, doom. Who knows? We shall soon find out. Okay, so I thought I'd do just a little bit of playing just to kind of show how it all kind of works. At the moment we've got the tuner engaged, so can't hear anything, so it's doing its job. We just start with the clean sound. This is a 1984 Squier made in Japan Strat JV series, and this is going through the pedalboard into a Victory V40 Deluxe head and a Zilla ported cab. So that's just completely clean, and then with the Cali, just engage. So it's just got a little bit more squishiness. The SD1, we've got it kind of set so it will be not too crunchy. Maybe still a little too crunchy. Take that down a little bit and bring that up as well. So the SD1. And then, as you can see, the cream tone is always on, like I said. So just take the bypass off. It's great, and then you can use it more as like that kind of like chugging rhythm. It's just really warm, creamy, like it says on the tin, you know. The solo boosting gauge. It's a pretty significant jump. And turn that off. And then the Archer. It's nothing too wild, but it's more about volume than anything else. The Retrovibe, it's got that lovely kind of. And then this is the Black Fountain delay. Yeah, nothing incredible. And then this, like I mentioned, the organ function. I'm gonna start mixing them up and see what happens. I think let's try with let's get the cream tone in there and see if we can. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Let's try a bit more of a kind of a lead sound.
So there you have it. Obviously got some tone hunting to do, got to, like, sort through this new arrangement of pedals and make sure it's exactly how I want it and be able to sort of like safe mark settings and all that kind of thing. But I'm pretty happy. I'm excited to try something new. I think that's a big part of finding your own sound is, not always just going for pedals because your favourite artists use them, but also finding things that are different that you haven't heard of before, but maybe that's just part of the charm and, discovering your own sound. So, gonna have to spend some time with it and really work out how each of the individual parts work on their own and as a unit. But that's part of the fun. Anyway, yeah, hope you enjoyed it.